so long is like alchemy.
And because this was on ESPN, I tried to get the introduction to this game, but the Spurs Timberwolves one ran late. So I'm cutting in right here, first offensive possession, and it's Boogie predictably. ISO baseline gets caught under the backboard. I thought it'd be something in the high post, but I knew they would go to him on the first possession. That's very Steve Kerr-like, very Warrior-like. Few possessions later, it's KD and Boogie in a high pick and roll. How would he get his first basket? A pick and pop, a three ball, or a roll to the basket and a slam? And I'll tell you what was so exciting about this is he did it without a thought. You see guys, you can see Gordon Hayward right now still doesn't want to elevate around the basket. Obviously a more gruesome injury, but the fact that he was comfortable to spike that like that, very promising moving forward. Here was his second foul already. And the Clippers knew they were going to attack him. They were going to test him in the pick and roll, and that's what they did. Clay early touch. Now this pick and roll action here where he drops, this was the only time I caught him leaving his feet and getting in the air. Otherwise, I was very impressed with his defense, honestly. His timing, watch the contest. His timing is immaculate on his contests. Now, to be fair, the Clippers don't have guys that are really going to take advantage coming right off the screen. And, you know, you face a Damian Lillard or a guy, a Kemba Walker, someone that's going to pull right off the screen, a Steph Curry, then he may get more exposed. But look at the size. Here's the third foul already, and that's a tough call. They were linked up under the basket, and you can see the Draymond-like response. So he headed to the bench with just about 3 minutes of run, which was probably best, right? The adrenaline, the nerves, the excitement. You don't want him out there for long spurts yet. Steph, the turnaround three ball. But to be honest, this game was ugly, and the Clippers mucked it up on purpose. Looney comes in, and Tobias Harris, is he an all-star? I don't know. I think because of their record sliding, it's going to be tough for him to get in. But skill for skill, he definitely deserves it. And KD, that's what he does. When we're not getting whistles, he's going to automatically go hard left, turn right, and get that call. You see DeMarcus stretching it out with the bands, ice on it already. But like I had said, the game, it wasn't fun. It was physical. The refs had their hands all over everything, and it kind of had us out of rhythm. There was a lot of bad passes, mistimed passes. Credit the Clippers for, you know, playing handsy and disrupting that, then KD with the hammer. And that happened so quick, the ESPN camera just caught the end of that. But, you know, it wasn't a flow game. And, you know, Lou Williams was out. Gallinari left the game early with back strain, so that definitely helped our cause. But let's face it, they have dogs. They're going to keep playing. Bradley, Beverly, Montrez, Harrell. You have to respect their effort. It's just not necessarily a fun style of play. Steph coast to coast, then the corner three ball. But it was one of those stories where it's like you felt like we should have been up. You look at the score and we weren't really up. And we got more of Dr. Clay. Shout out Mark for that nickname. And he's been hunting the dunks. I really like what it's going to bring to the table. There's a lackluster effort on the defensive end. And being that the Clippers have fallen back down to reality of late, I think there's just much less juice and interest from this Warriors team. Even though, you know, it was Boogie's debut, I don't think they necessarily felt threatened, and their defensive effort showed that. There's being physical and then flopping. You can't have both, man. Just stop it. Tobias cooking on Loon. You look up and all of a sudden the Clippers have the lead. Now, KD had some bad passes in this one, man. I don't know. He was being a little too passive. Sometimes when KD's not aggressive enough offensively, it leads to just bad turnovers and decisions, transition, three-ball. Steph, like I said, they were hounding him, playing super physical. He was trying to draw the whistle, and we weren't getting it. It was not a balanced whistle, and it led to some frustration. Here's Avery Bradley, very textbook fundamental. Attack where the defender's coming from, step back jumper, but it's health and consistency you question with Bradley. There's an assist from KD. He had 5 turnovers and 5 assists. Not exactly the ratio you want. He gets the jumper there. But the physicality of this Clippers team seems to bother Durant. And this is not him. This is not it for him. I talked about him dribbling into the post and backing down. That's just not for him. And whenever he tries to do that, it never really ends up working out. Face up. One catch, one dribble when he's in the post, another forced entry pass. How about another one? And let's credit the Clippers. Their length and, you know, pressure on ball, you know, caused some of it, but some of it was just lackadaisical and lack of awareness of your opponent. But he redeems himself and gets Looney a dunk there. Here's the first jumper from DeMarcus, triple threat. Didn't get that one, but that's a shot he will make over and over again. Watch Draymond try to save Boogie from the foul. He reaches over, and that was, you know, one of the rare times he was out of position. But again, the Clippers don't have a lot of guys that attack off the pick and roll. And then how about this? Clay in the post, and he gets the open three ball. And make no mistake about it, he's not a shot maker, He is a shooter, legit, and he will knock that down. Draymond, very late, weak contest here on a known three-point shooter in Scott. Now look at this, 5 high, almost 5 high, opens a wide open paint for Iguodala, and with DeMarcus out there, he's kind of can play that Brook Lopez role out in Milwaukee, right? 5 out, Iguodala in the passing lanes. I said it before, I don't know if he hit his head or what, he got some super Viagra or what, but this dude, I haven't seen him play with this much energy in years. And then look at this, Harrell, a guy that kills us, he's just too big. You ain't going nowhere. I was very impressed with his effort. And then look at him run the floor and not quite confident going up right away. And you're gonna see Draymond upset with the lack of a call defending his guy. And I love it, right? But we do have to realize that we don't want them to feed off each other negatively. We don't want them both jawing all the time, right? They could feed each other. There's another great timed contest from Boogie, and then he gets out and runs the floor. I think that's the biggest thing that surprised me was how well he got up and down the floor, and then he will do this double, triple, he's still going up, gets the whistle. I also want to shout out Quinn Cook because he came in the game briefly and he matched Patrick Beverley's intensity. Like, I had never seen Quinn play that physical of a defense, a brand of defense, right? And I don't know if he was coached into it, but he came out and matched the physical, intensity of the Clippers backcourt briefly. But I took notice of it and I want to shout him out for it. Ironically, it was Looney who got hurt in the pick and roll more than Boogie. Tobias right down the lane. I was talking last game about Klay slowing down his rhythm a little bit on the catch. Well, when Steph slows down, it actually breaks his rhythm. You noticed how that was a little bit of a slower release and he didn't get it to drop. KD got his hands in the lanes and Quinn made the right decision here. He didn't get greedy, took the easy layup and ended up getting 3 the hard way. I want to take a look at the nuance of these slip screens and the window for the shooter here. Here's the pick and roll. Now watch Gortat, he's coming into it. Now it's a slip, right? And so that holds Draymond back because he's worried it's a slip, and that opens up the window for Harris to bang the 3 ball down. Now on that play, on the rebound, KD knocks knees with Marcin Gortat. And that one hurts. Knee on knee for about 2 minutes, you feel like you're done. I just felt too like some of these passes, the risk reward were just not there. Like, look at that pass. I understand Draymond wasn't feeling it from behind the arc, but that pass, that window, it worked out. They got a bucket for it. And then watch Marcin Gortat set a screen from the 3-point line to the free throw line. Someone's got to jump out on the kid. I like the kid Gilchrist, and he's getting more opportunity with the other 2 guys out. It might be better long-term for them. Look at the Harden hop from Steph. Okay. And KD, he's such a deliberate scorer, and he's such a deliberate passer. And, I know I've spoken on the 5 turnovers, and there was another one. Look at him here. When does he ever pass out of that? Draymond left, right, and he's just not. The next phase is the arc. And how he's going to get the arc is a tighter shot pocket and a little bit higher of a release. But the footwork was there. He just wasn't knocking him down. And then this was an accumulation of the frustration. And you got to smarten up there because I thought he was gone, right? That was the second tee, and it was a rightfully called tee. You can't Shaq Fu the rim like that. But luckily, I guess it was a non-sportsman-like, within the rules, basically the 2 tees didn't count against each other. Take another look at it. So he was fortunate enough to stay in the game, but that was just, I think, an overall frustration of how the game was being played out. Boogie, the difference when he's catching in the post and passing is the defense is not sure he's going to pass it. A lot of our other guys, they're positive the pass is coming because they ain't going to shoot it in the post. This was probably the worst Boogie looked in one offensive sequence here. And the thing is, when you have the nerves, the excitement, it drains your legs. So his legs were probably wobbly, and then his stabilizing muscles, you can practice and train and all that, but you don't really get that back until you're playing in games. And so he just looked a bit wobbly in some of his ISOs, right? There's a nice fine extra pass. And I just love what Klay's doing, hunting these dunks, because it's going to get guys to stop selling out on him so hard on the 3-point line. Eventually, it's going to open up his 3 ball is what it's going to do. Something I had forgot that Boogie brings to the table is he's one of the best charge takers in the league. And I used to be so frustrated when he would do it because he's so big. It makes it frustrating, right? But his presence defensively in the paint is really a factor. And, styles make fights, but in this game it was. Look at him. Him just being in there and being a big body and being in the right spot just caused a lot of deterring of the Clippers trying to get to the rim. They're out in transition. Draymond with the soft finish. The less arc you have, the less range you have on your shot. And so Draymond from that 15 to 18 foot spot is going to be much more efficient. Obviously, it's not a shot you want in today's NBA. Again, Boogie, the late, long contest was very effective in this game. And then look at him get out and run. Soft hands, left hand, no, sir, thank you, ma'am. But I mean, that was impressive, just the fluidity of it, right? In your first game in a year, more Boogie just being big in the right spot. And I don't think people necessarily think of him as a high IQ player because maybe his emotional intelligence isn't as high. But as far as on the basketball court, his IQ is really sky high. I think it's just his emotions that get the best of him, and then that dramatically can lower his IQ. So it's a package deal, right? But when he's just playing normally, the IQ is there. Nasty spin move from this kid. Look at his feet. Did you notice his feet? He looks like he wears like size 17s, and that's probably why he's not that bursty, right? He's more of a size and pace guard. Clay, again, he just knows how to fall, right? You hold your breath, but Clay's like a tank out there. Watch Steph's vision and anticipation on this coast-to-coast drive. It reminds me, I coached a few years of flag football, and you'd have a kid that was super fast and strong, but you'd put him at running back, and he couldn't get anywhere. And then you'd have a kid that wasn't that fast or strong, and his vision, he just anticipated lanes opening up, and he would get all sorts of yardage for you. That's kind of reminds me of how Steph gets up and down the court. He has masterful vision and timing. Shai Gilchrist had 20 for them with no Gallinari and Lou. And like I said, if they're not going to really compete in the playoffs, they're maybe better off letting him get more touches and kind of develop quicker. Steph, 3 of 11 from downtown, so he got off the line. And I love to see that. Don't get greedy with the 3 ball. It's not dropping, get it otherwise. He still had 28. Now, we already saw KD with the knee. I froze it there. Something happened to his right hand or wrist in that collision. Doesn't get the call, but you're going to see him hold his wrist. And that's his shooting hand, y'all, man. And KD's the type you definitely have to double check with him. He's never going to say, hey, man, I got to go check this out. He's going to try to play through all these things. So hopefully the new training staff is aware that KD's the type you have to save from himself at times, depending on what it is. And then Boogie hits him with the stiff arm. From this view, you're like, that's a terrible flop, right? But I think you get an idea of how strong this dude is. Get off me. Okay, maybe it was a little bit of a flop, but still, it was his 5th foul. And it's just something you're going to have to live with him. But it adds to the physicality and the bully mentality of having him on the floor, honestly. Here's 3 ball number 2, butt naked with Boban in the game. And it'll be interesting to see how teams want to play this. It's a pick your poison thing. I don't think you can let him just fire away open from there. He'll hit 5, 6 threes in the game. Look at him put a body on Boban. I've never seen anybody just move Boban out of the way. So there's just the little nuances of his physicality and his presence in this game against a very physical Clippers team. Look at him here. He just doesn't quite have the confidence yet, and you can tell he's shaking his head. He's like, dang, I should have just shot it. And so he calls back for the ball. You knew he was going to knock it down because he'd already touched the ball on the possession. And to start this 4th quarter, the Clippers were threatening to fight back in this game, down single digits. Boogie came in with the 2nd unit and honestly kind of put the Clippers away. You see the steal here. He hit multiple threes, and he really started to open up and feel nice. You're going to see here, all of a sudden, now he's got the confidence. Now he's like, all right, I'm going to test this little triple threat jab step. And yeah, man, it was a close game. It was closer than the game should have been to start the 4th. And with this new 2nd unit in Boogie, he kind of took over here. Finding Ig for the high arcing 3 ball. And then I talked about physicality, presence, and bullying. Watch this here. There is an element of fear with DeMarcus Cousins when he's in the paint. And if you've played ball or football or whatever the sport is, you know how when you're playing against a guy that you're not sure if they will look out for your best interest, like if you're in the air, or a guy that, you know what I mean, like you don't trust. He may just club you. He may hammer you. And Boogie brings that element to him being in the paint, not just being a near 300-pounder and a bully, but like he can short wire on you, and the opponent knows that, and it brings a new level of intimidation and physical presence to this team that we've needed, man. So there's the final foul, 6 fouls in 15 minutes. But could this debut have gone really any better? It perfectly capped his minute count, and you know the Warriors fans travel everywhere. We look at the lead now when he leaves. It was a 10-point game, now up 18. There's the stat line. And yeah, man, it couldn't have gone any better. I'm very excited. I just wish LeBron was playing Monday, man. But I'll leave you with this: the most fluid move I've ever seen from Jordan Bell into a shot. So a great debut in Los Angeles for DeMarcus Cousins. We got the Lakers MLK Day. I'm out, y'all.
First NBA game in almost a year. And it puts up 14 points, 6 rebounds in 15 minutes. And gets love from his teammates.
so long it's like alchemy.